So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
All right, hey everybody. So this is Make My Day Free for All Friday. I am your sweet and lovable host. With yeah, there we go, a little bit better. Anyway, we want to welcome you all to the show. It is Friday, which means that it's Free for All Friday, which means that we get to go ahead and we talk about whatever we want to talk about. That's right here on Facebook Live, on Periscope, and on YouTube, and soon Roku. We'll tell you about that after we sign the papers. Alright, so everybody, if you don't mind, feel free to share this out. I don't know what's going on with Periscope lately. It seems like 0 people are coming in. I don't know what Facebook's doing, but tonight what we're going to do is we're going to air our exclusive interview with Katie Daryl from AXS TV. Talked to her yesterday morning about her brand new TV show titled The Top 10 Revealed. It's actually kind of cool, actually. So, hi everybody coming in. Melanie, Mia, Hearts and Stars. Free to laugh now. Hello, Jeffrey. And then, of course, we're going to talk a little bit also about some of the latest news of the day. I'm not sure I want to, but hey, anyway, it's all right.
Because other days of the week we don't get to talk about what we want to talk about. We just don't.
There you are.
Free for All Friday. It's just there's little to no structure. So.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that there's some structure.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget to go over to BibleNewsRadio.com and join our email list. Today I put in a rant.
Because you can.
Put in a very intimate rant. If you read it, we might talk about it. And then, of course, I had a question of the week, which only one person answered, which was, how are you impacting people's lives? I'm going to tell you who answered and what they said. And they're actually in the chat room. They mentioned it on Snapchat. I was super glad that you actually answered the question. That was very cool. Alright, it says Lost trying to reconnect.
Well, everything's good here.
Oh, now it's back. Alright. So that's our 3-minute music intro. Thank you and good night. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so Bareface.
That's not my real name, just so you know.
I know. Yep. A 7.5 earthquake in Mexico, huh? What part of Mexico? I actually hadn't heard that. Oops. Whoa. Yeah, that's just the sign of the end times, you know. Hey, Dorothy. I wasn't sure how to answer. Oh, how you're impacting people's lives. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that one first. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to open up the show. So this week, I have a question of the week, which I sent out in my email. And I said, tell me what is it that you're doing to impact other people's lives? Because everybody is impacting everybody's life. And the only person that actually responded to that question was Mia. And Mia is a life flight paramedic over there in Ohio. She is literally a personal hero of mine. She's like, oh, stop it, Stacy. You just stop it. Right, Mia? But I have to tell you, you know, it was a little over a year ago, probably closer to a year and a half ago. I got this message in Facebook from Mia. And it was this interesting message sharing about her background. And, you know, and I always listen to people when they share the stuff with me. And anyway, long story short, Mia soon became a pillar of the community. And Eventually drove down from Ohio to meet me and Randall in person. We had a great weekend together. She colored her hair pink. Or actually, I did. I sprayed her hair pink. That was when we were doing the BNR, fun hair challenge about a year ago. A little over a year ago, actually. I still actually have the gold paint that I bought for my hair. There's no way I put it in there, but anyway. Anyway, long story short, she gave us Luke, who, incidentally, Mia Grover took a couple days ago, and Randall's like, no, we gotta save Luke from Grover destruction. Anyway, this is the Life Flight paramedic bear that Mia and her staff give out to the little patients that they rescue. And so Mia, basically, she sent me a Snapchat, because that's where we tend to talk a lot, me and her. In fact, I sent you a message earlier. I don't know if you got it, but anyway. And she just shared with me that, she saves people's lives. And, I think that's cool. I think anybody who, does that type of work is a hero. And, I know you don't see it. You don't see yourself as a hero, but in my mind, you are. And so I just want to say thank you, Mia. Thank you for not only your continued support of our pillar community, but just, being a good friend. I know you and I have, spent a lot of hours together privately, and I'm really super proud of you and your spiritual growth and your honesty, your integrity. You're somebody who says what they mean, and you mean what they say. But more than anything, I just think you're super. I mean, you're an awesome person. You have a massive sense of humor, and you're a good cook, just so you know. And anyway, I look forward to our next time that we get to do that.
What's missing from my setup is all the sound effects, the applause and stuff like that. We had that when we were doing Blog Talk Radio Live. I need to set up a bank of sound effects for these broadcasts. Anyway,
so if I had to give a shout out to a listener or a pillar of the week, it would be Mia Chapa, aka Superstar Paramedic, which she's probably going to go, would you shut up already? Anyway, so, you know what? I should do that. I should do shout out of the week. Yeah. The question is, what do you get as a result, besides publicly embarrassed on 3 platforms? No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, I just think it's super cool. So thank you. And I'm glad that Randall was able to rescue Luke from destruction. Because,
Yeah, it's not a dog toy.
Grover likes to, if it's a toy, he will go after it. In fact, he murdered my giraffe, my one that I microwave. And, that was kind of related to Flippo the hippo, which we won't go there. But anyway.
Is that what...
What? Go ahead.
Yeah, because he doesn't have enough chew toys,
And you still don't know who murdered Flippo the hippo, do you? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Yeah, it's because Randall did it. That's why. At least that's what me and Jennifer were planning the plot to frame. Can you interview Mia on your show? We actually did when she was here. We interviewed her in that way. I don't know. It'd be... yeah. I don't know, Mia, do you want to come on our show and be a guest? We'll interview you. See, Harshy Stars thinks that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know what the signal would be like in a helicopter, but that'd be really cool if we get the interview from...
That's the super cool thing about Mia is I actually get to see her. Because, you never know who people are until, they're like sending you pictures like, this is me, and here's my fire truck that I ride in. And this is my ambulance, and this is my heliport pad over here. And you're like, is this person for real? But I have to tell you, she also brought in her friend Kim, who is also a pillar of our community. And they're both heroes. I don't know Kim as well, but they both rescue people and do stuff that there'd be no way I could do. And I think that's amazing. Anybody who's in the helping professions that way is a hero, in my opinion. So there you go. All right. And there's JM. JM from Sweden came in. And Dorothy. Did I say hi to you, Dorothy? I thought I did. Did I? I didn't. I can't remember. Anyway, so So I guess the first thing we should do is air the interview that we did with Katie Daryl. How many of you in the chat room know who Katie is? If you do, put a 1 or say, oh yeah, I know who she is. This is totally awesome. You know, she rocks totally. And Randall, you could probably put up a picture of her.
I probably can. I'm looking for something else right now.
Okay. Because I can play it.
I was just about to check to see if Facebook... I guess I could put myself... I was about to see if Facebook viewers were streaming with warning. There's a warning on Facebook. Oh, now it's back to green. That was interesting. I was just wondering if Facebook viewers were commenting or the software is just not seeing their comments. So anyway.
Yeah.
So back to you. I'll go do my...
wait, stop that. Okay.
I'll go do my research and get a photo of Katie Daryl.
Okay, so it looks like April left a comment. I am championing people to help them push outside their comfort zones, and ultimately, as a special needs mom myself, I know my calling is to bring isolated special needs parents together via live streaming. April, that is awesome. And you know what? Having had special needs myself, I'm still a special needs child. You think I'm kidding, and I'm really not. I think that's great. And having worked with in that, you know, I don't know. Here's a fun fact about me. Not that any of you really care all that much, but when I was in college, do you know that I did tutoring in the special ed section of the junior college I went to? And the longest client that I had cerebral palsy. She was in a chair, and she was in a wheelchair, and she, you know, she was brilliant. Right? But she just didn't have the function of body that, you know, I do. It was amazing. So, and Vicky, hi from Kentucky. Nice to see you guys. And yeah, so that's super cool. Thank you guys for coming in on Facebook. It's nice. It's nice that somebody's there. Appreciate it. Yeah. So I actually spent a lot of time tutoring, in the disabled, student center when I was in junior college. And so that's, you know, to me, people who help other people, and just in general. I mean, that's why I became a therapist, people, you know, because helping people is so important. And it's an awesome thing. So, yeah, and the truth is we all do it, right? We all help somebody in some way. Today, I'll tell you, I went to pickleball today. Yeah, I did. You should have saw me on the court today, you guys. I was awesome. No, actually, I wasn't. But I was pretty good. I mean, I played pretty well. But there's a couple of new people there. This one guy named Mike, he came, and when all the super good players left, except for me, I went down and I was playing with some of the beginners. And I was coaching him, you know, to help him to get up to the line. Because, see, when you're in pickleball, you know, pickleball is awesome. So you serve the ball, it goes over, it bounces, right? Then the person who you served it to hits it back, and then you have to let the ball bounce again, and then you hit it back. And then instantly, if you're good at the game, you run up to the line right before the kitchen, the volley zone, right? You don't want to get in the kitchen, a.k.a. the volley zone, because if you do, you'll get burnt. No, I'm just kidding. Only if it was a real kitchen, then you would get burnt. But anyway, Mike was having a hard time doing that, and so I was telling him every single time, run forward, you know. And it takes some time. I mean, because you're doing a lot of running back and forth. Right now, I have right Baker. Right now, I have 9,100 steps. 9,100. Yeah, that's right. You know, I'm almost at 10,000. And so, you know, going back and forth. And I am not the type of person who likes to yell at people and go, hey, you're doing that wrong. Knock it off. Now, I was playing with some other guy who liked to tell me every time I missed a shot that I did that, you know, wrong. And I said, you know, words of affirmation would be helpful for me. Because, you know, if you're actually going to want to play with me as my partner, you know, because every time he hit the ball into the net or something like that, I was like, good try, buddy. And if I hit the ball into the net, he's like, what did you hit the ball in the net for? Like, whatever. But anyway, back to Mike. So I'm helping Mike, this guy. He's like, I'm going to be here for a while, and I just want to thank you so much for coaching me. You're so awesome, blah, blah. And it made me feel good because, you know, look, games, sports, let's say it that way, team sports really teach you who you are. You know what I mean? Because if you're a bad sport, when you play sports, guess what? You're going to be a butthead in real life, just so you know. If you're kind and caring and gentle and compassionate but directive and, you know, then that's going to carry over, you know. And what really irks me about our society is we have bad sportsmanship, you know, parents yelling at one another and then yelling at the kids. And I'm like, who the heck does that build up? Nobody, right? But then you have good people. Hey, good job, buddy. You know, you can do it. You know, you can do it. So it's like, that's what we want, right? We don't want all this, you know, bad stuff. Anyway, so that was my day and blah, blah. Anyway. Special people help special people. April, that's a mic drop right there. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write that down as my new saying. I'm going to steal it from you. Although I'll give you credit. Don't worry. Okay. Okay, so let me give you an introduction to Katie Daryl in case you don't know who she is. She's actually very well known in the secular world. She's best known for her work on the Hollywood gossip show TMZ. Many of you might know the website tmz.com. Katie started her broadcasting career as a part-time DJ at the age of 15, and she served as the host of the original concert series, The World's Greatest Tribute Bands, which she developed, cast, and produced. The popular program ran for 7 seasons, airing live from the world-famous Whiskey
A Go-Go.
and highlighting the industry's most authentic and celebrated tribute acts. And here's the thing. She has a new TV show over on AXS TV titled The Top 10 Revealed, which debuted on February 11th. And the premiere episode, which is the episode I got access to, no pun intended, was titled Guitar Rock Intros. And the thing is, find out what captured the top spot by watching the screener below, which I got. Was it Van Halen's Ain't Talking About Love, Hotel California by the Eagles, or Derek and the Dominoes' song Layla? And you know, the song, it actually did air already, so we'll tell you who it was later. But
come on, you don't want to.
Well, it already aired.
But still, somebody can catch it somewhere, and I'm sure it's rerun somewhere. You don't want to.
So anyway, let me finish.
Don't spoil it.
So here's the thing: she each episode of the top 10 revealed actually has a differing theme. Like in that particular episode, they had special guests including Guns N' Roses legend Steven Adler, former Pantera percussionist Vinnie Paul, and the First Lady of Rock herself, Lita Ford. Other highlights include top songs named after women, which airs next week, actually in 2 days. Also, 80s rock ballads and some other 70s hard rock hits. And, you know, one of the things I said to her was, I think that this was geared toward my demographic, like my age group, and she said that was right. But listen to this. Not only was she but Katie Daryl joined the network in 2002 after pitching the music-themed variety show True Music to AXS TV /HDNet. Founder Mark Cuban, while she was co-host on the Mark Cuban Show, just so you know. So Katie Daryl is a friend of Mark Cuban, you know, the billionaire on Shark Tank. After the show's 6-year run, Daryl discovered her adventurous side as she traveled the country, showcasing the most exciting events and activities. As producer and host of Deadline, which aired until 2012, she's a graduate of the Walter Cronkite School of Broadcasting and a former Fiesta Bowl princess. She's married, and she resides with her husband and son in Los Angeles. So that's who we actually interviewed yesterday. A BFF of Mark Cuban. When I read that, I was like, wow, that's super cool. And I tell you what, the interview was super easy. It was all really cool. So you got it all queued up. Oh, wait, I have it.
You have it.
Do you need a picture of her?
I've got a picture.
You got a picture?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and play the interview I did with Katie Daryl yesterday. And well, let's just have fun. This is our Who in the World segment.
Sounds good.
Right.
All right, everybody.
Hold on a minute. I gotta plug it in. Yeah, hold on just a minute. It would help if I actually plugged it into the computer so you can hear it. Okay.
What?
Oh, turn up the volume. You're here, Katie. It's so nice to meet you. And I actually just watched the screener that they sent me of this show, and I absolutely loved it.
Thank you. It's really easy television. I mean, I know we live in this day and age of like binge watching, and this is a great example of that. You know, I mean, it's 22 minutes and it's 10 songs that you probably love. And even if you don't love it, good news, we're moving on to another song really quickly.
Well, that's the thing. You know what it reminded me of is actually kind of in the olden days. I mean, I'm close to 50 years old, and I used to watch or listen to Casey Kasem's Top 40 every week. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I know exactly. I remember listening to it as a kid.
Yeah,
yeah, it is. You know, you always look forward to hearing what's next. And even if you're like, oh, we heard this song, you know, last week, you're like, cool, I'm glad it's still on the list. And it just creates dialogue too. I think, you know, it's fun to have a lighthearted conversation with a friend to be like, hey, last night I was watching the show, top 10 songs named after women. You'd be surprised. You know, did you know such and such made the list? And so it actually is like a fun conversation starter, quite frankly.
I think so. And it kind of seems like it was almost geared toward my generation, actually. At least with some of the...
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, you're totally right. I mean, so that's what's great is like the show airs on AXS TV, and, you know, we really love classic rock at our network, and, you know, that's who we're gearing things to. So even when, for instance, our premiere episode was top 10 guitar rock intros, we did set parameters. You know, we did say that, you know, the songs had to be released before the 90s. So this way we were getting in a lot of those 70s and 80s tunes that we really loved. One of the topics that we have coming up in 2 weeks is Vietnam era songs. And although you're too young for that, it's definitely music that, you know, your parents were probably playing on the radio. So you're a big fan of like Creedence Clearwater Revival, and big surprise, they certainly made the list when it came to Vietnam songs.
Yeah, well, no, that's actually absolutely correct. I actually have a dad that's 40 years older than me, Katie. And so,
oh, wow.
So I actually have a very wide, you know, I mean, you know, even songs before that, I would know, but it's.
Yeah. Boy. Yeah, exactly. You probably heard about when music was invented.
Yeah, well, my dad's almost 90, so, you know, but anyway. So,
we used to take this rock and this stick and we'd pound them together. Nah, I get it though. It's fun, you know, hearing this type of music is nostalgic. And it brings you to a good place in your memory bank, that's for sure. And just a lot of people it resonates with, you know, so not only, you know, of generations who grew up, you know, knowing this music because they were 15 years old and they flipped it on the radio. But like I said, you know, from people that were older, so the parents that were able to yell at their kids, turn off that rock and roll, and then just these younger generations that grow up with an appreciation of classic rock. You know, it's fun to, you know, watch a TV show that is totally celebrating the music of AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and Ozzy, you know, and those are the people that really seem to be popping up on all these lists. Doesn't matter what the topic is, you know, from guitar rock intros to 70s hard rock hits to hits that were covers. You know, some of these classic bands just keep popping up, and it reminds you why they're so good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and, you know, I know in this episode that I watched, you know, where the song Hotel California, I grew up in California. I'm in Tennessee now, but that song is like, it's such a classic opening, first of all, but the lyrics are deep and it's actually funny. And always there's a history behind it. And most people don't know about it. It's kind of like, I mean, because I write music myself. And so if people were to ask me, well, what was the inspiration for that song? And I would ask them, well, what did you get out of the song? What do you think was? And that's one of the things I liked about your show was that you actually get some of the peek behind that. Some people, you know.
Yeah. Thank you. I totally forgot about that part. We have these commentators, and they kind of give some of the backstory as well as opinion on these songs. But I think one thing, at least me personally, what I find frustrating with countdown shows on other networks or just ones that I've watched in the past, sometimes they basically have just 6 comedians commenting, and it just seems like it's like a joke fest and you didn't get anything out of the episode. And that's not what we did here. Sure, we do have a comedian that makes some fun comments, lighthearted here and there, but we have people like Lita Ford. I mean, she's the first lady of rock. We have Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses. We have Vivian Campbell from Def Leppard. We have guys from Warrant and Quiet Riot, and we have Matt Pinfield from, MTV and VH1. So we have people that actually have firsthand knowledge of these songs, whether they're in the band or they've toured with the band or, they were a DJ at the time when this band, hit number one. So it's fun to have like real good commentators talking about the list and, just letting our viewers know this is why it got to number 3 on our list. And it's not just us, creating a list, because we're dorks sitting with our trapper keepers, and a pencil.
Yeah, but hey, I have to say, rock and roll royalty, how fun is that to work with, right? I mean,
it is fun. I mean, like Matt Pinfield, I call him my encyclopedia. This guy knows everything. And I'm not just talking about, these are the band members. When I would say, okay, let's talk about such and such song, he'd be like, okay, so that came out on this album in 1972, and the producer, and you're like, whoa. This guy, I mean, his brain is just full of information, and I just love that.
Yeah, that is so cool. Well, I know our time is almost up, so tell people where they can find you on social media, where they can get the show, because I think everybody who loves music like we do would definitely love it for sure.
Yeah. Well, so the show, just as a reminder, it's called The Top 10 Revealed, and you can watch it on Sunday nights on AXS TV. If you don't know if you have AXS TV with your local provider and everything, the easiest thing to do would go to the AXS TV Twitter or Facebook page or my page, Katie Daryl, and we have all these links that tell you, the channel number, wherever you are, so you can know whether you're on DirecTV or AT&T Vios and know how to get this. But every Sunday night, it's a different list. We have 5 more episodes left. This Sunday is the top 10 songs named after women.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. So that sounds so cool.
It's fun. There's some shockers.
I bet you there are, but you know what? We won't reveal who they are, right? Because we want people.
Exactly. I'm like someone earlier asked me to run down the list. I was like, then why would you tune in and watch if I told you who the 10 songs were? Jeez.
And the fact that you went to the Walter Cronkite School of Broadcasting, you know how to do that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I was lucky to get a really good education. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
That is so cool. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, there you go. And I actually cut it off so you couldn't hear my friend tell her where she was going next. But anyway, so that if you just tuned in, that's Katie Daryl talking about the brand new show that she does called The Top 10 Revealed. And I thought it was cool. And you know what? This is actually a show that I can heartily endorse sincerely, because there's nothing raunchy about it. It's actually literally the top 10 revealed in specific music. But I guess you could get controversial. Should Christians be listening to rock and roll music?
Yeah, and and the lyrical content of some of those songs, they're
sure.
It is somewhat controversial. I mean, there's that camp of that, we should throw off everything secular, especially, some of these bands who, sing about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I, as a new believer, I got rid of all my secular albums and tapes, and because I figured that wasn't a good influence, and I think it was fine at the time.
Yep.
Now I appreciate, the artistry still. Doesn't mean I have to buy into the world view, of those artists.
Is this a great intro to a rock song?
Yeah, of course there's some controversy about that the chord progression was borrowed from a Jethro Tull song, but a little bit different timing, but
right.
But chord progression's gonna repeat. I mean Chuck Berry, the 12-bar blues. I mean he made I don't know how many dozen songs with the same chord progression, but because the melodies were different, then they were different songs.
There you go. This will probably get flagged now, and the show will be deleted completely.
Yeah, because there's copyrighted music in it.
Yeah, and if it does, oh well. Bygones. Yeah.
But
so that was Hotel California, in case you didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know about the world views for sure about some of these artists. I mean, there are, what can we say, stories about, different classical composers. And I think like the movie Amadeus, I think that was way over the top. I mean, it was a work of fiction, but it portrayed Mozart as this, inebriated womanizer, and I don't think that's accurate of him. Anyway, but
Well, do we ever really know anyone? That's the question.
we know ourselves.
Do we? Do we really know ourselves?
Above all things, the human heart is deceitful.
So what did you guys think of that interview that we just played? Did you like it? Did you learn something new? Does it make you curious? See, I love documentaries, and that's really what it is. It's a documentary countdown, basically. It's music history, and as somebody who loves music, what?
I was thinking, I think in that screener, I do believe I heard the F word from one of the
I don't recall.
recording remember the artists.
No, I don't recall hearing that.
All right.
So.
All right.
I
Maybe
think
it was for
the F word was bleeped out in Superstore.
Oh yeah. But
Yeah, which I wouldn't recommend. But anyway, but hey, this Who in the World segment is
it was
Hi Precious 37 Nurse.
I just remembered where it was. Yes, it was in there.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was in the recording of Van Halen doing Ain't Talking About Love.
Oh.
And David Lee Roth, and there was a live concert. He says, I got no time to F around.
Gotcha.
Whereas the official recording was got time to mess around. But
oh, really?
I guess he thought for a live audience he'd be a little
edgy.
Risky, yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
So yesterday we were talking about Nikolas Cruz, the murderer, in Florida, who killed 17 people in cold blood. Premeditated, and he went to Subway afterwards and ate a sandwich, and then he got arrested, and then he confessed to the whole thing. And, and I gave you my thing here, and World Bank, I buy all shares of the Bible News Radio Show and give Randall 50%, and yeah. How about just donate through our PayPal account? That would be better. But anyway, so, I was doing some research, and if you go over to Drudge Report, they have uncovered a whole bunch more stuff about this murder.
And it's on the web, so it has to be true.
Well, the fact that deputies were called to the killer's house 39 times at least.
That should be pretty
and it says
easy
here
to verify.
The FBI botched the Cruz case, and he's claiming now that he heard demon voices, and he's saying that there was threats, hoaxes, anxiety arrests, uneasiness, gripped students, sales of bulletproof backpacks is soared. The media blames Trump, of course, because, Kimmel says the president is mentally ill. A Facebook group is saying murder Republicans. But here's the thing that really got me.
Is that just a little bit?
These are the headlines that Drudge put up there.
Isn't that just a little bit
inflammatory?
Well, I want to say ironic, but just
the irony of it all.
Let's just call it hypocritical. It was a kill all Republicans. What, with guns? Are they going to use knives? Are they going to use sticks and stones? Because these evil Republicans won't do anything about this terrible gun problem. So we need to kill them all.
Should we go back?
With what kind of weapons?
And count how many of these happened under the Obama and Clinton administrations? I mean,
exactly.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is the thing on the one thing. It says here, Florida gunman says demon voices told him how to pull off school shooting, and police revealed they were called out 39 times to his family home before his mom died last year. And then it says here, according to his legal team, he suffers from autism, depression, and has other significant psychological problems.
Well, yeah.
Okay, note this, okay? Note, remember, okay? Police were called to his family's home. 39 times since 2011. Calls were for a range of reasons, including being a mentally ill person, child and elderly abuse, domestic disturbance, and others. Cruz's adoptive mom died in November of pneumonia. Her husband died years before of a heart attack. He was kicked out of the high school last year for allegedly getting into a fight. A man also reported Cruz to the FBI last year for writing an online post saying he was going to be a shooter. President Trump said in a tweet Thursday morning that there were signs that the shooter was mentally disturbed. 1,000 people attended an emotional candlelit vigil. Did I say that right? Yeah. At the school last night. Bottom line is, he still should be put to death. And, you know, I'm not an evil person in the sense of, you know, I just want to kill everybody out there who kills people. But I think the way the media is making this way bigger than it really needs to be, in the sense of gun control, you know, they're changing the topic. They're making it gun control, you know. And everybody always talks about these things, you know, mental illness and you know, and all this other stuff. Clearly, okay, this kid had help. He was offered help, no doubt, no hands down. He was offered help. He was
not to carry out his crime, but to deal with his problems.
He was actually adopted. Okay, so that tells you something right there. Number one, he was adopted by a husband and a wife. Right, the dad died earlier than the mom still, and it's hard losing a parent, right? But he was adopted. I don't know what the circumstances of his adoption were, but I will tell you this: if, depending on how old he was, there was probably some attachment issue disorder, which, you know, is pretty common when somebody like that is adopted. Okay, just because he was adopted, just because he has autism, all that stuff does not give him the right to kill people. Just because he was bullied by somebody doesn't give him the right to go out and murder people. You know, he clearly rejected any help. Okay, I mean, that's clear. And what really irks me is that everybody's trying to figure out why he did it, when, you know, and it was, oh, now we're going to prevent this. You know what? I keep saying it over and over. You're not going to prevent it. The human heart is desperately wicked. That's what the Bible says. It's wicked. Right? Even Christians do a lot of crappy things, okay? As a regenerate person, I know a lot of crappy Christians out there who lie, who steal, who defraud, even some here on Periscope. So it's like, you know, not that I've seen any murder anybody, but still, the point is that only God can regenerate somebody, right? Anybody, not just killers. He clearly was misguided and clearly rejected treatment, okay? So here's the thing, you know, he was adopted, which means that that couple had a background check and they were considered worthy to, you know, take care of him. Could they have been evil, wicked people? I suppose, you know, I would think that it would have been in the news way before now, though. And the fact that the school clearly didn't do anything or do enough, you know, still tells me, you know what, there are just some people who are evil. And the Bible says that. It does. In Romans. You might want to open your Bible and read it. It says Romans, there are vessels of honor and vessels of dishonor. It's in Romans chapter 9, I think it is. I'll have to look it up. But if you Google that, you'll see that there are vessels of honor and vessels of dishonor, right? And he took the time to get an Uber. Yeah, see, that just, you know, and so here's like what we talked about yesterday. He should be prosecuted full extent of the law. He should be given the death penalty, and it should be swift. It shouldn't be this long, drawn-out thing. And, you know, I was talking to my friend Raymond today at Pickleball, who's a psychologist. We had him on the show last year. And him and me were talking. Now, he's a psychologist. And he said what concerned him was that he might plead, you know, the insanity defense. Okay, so, you know, is evil insane? Yeah, I mean, it just...
there used to be a thing called criminally insane. You know, criminal insanity.
Well, he would be criminally insane.
Right, and it wasn't a get out of jail free card. It was just like, yes, you're insane, but not the kind of neurotic, you know, rock in the corner kind of insane. You do criminal things. You know, it's psychotic. You know, criminally insane. It was to differentiate, you know, your sort of run-of-the-mill mental illness with a criminal, you know, mental illness. But anyway, so yeah, we come to point, you know, the Twinkie defense and all that sort of stuff where, oh, because I'm insane, I have a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Right. Well, this is an issue of accountability, like Melanie's putting there.
Yeah, of course. It's
Hi, Marlene.
insanity.
Hi, Marlene. So, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. This is the thing that drives me crazy. It's like everybody and their grandmother, literally, is talking about either banning guns or whatever, and they're not talking about holding this young man. He wasn't a kid. He's 19 years old. Thereby, he's an adult. Holding this man accountable for the fact that he premeditated murder and killed 17 people.
Yeah, you know, we live in a society where we're looking to blame other things because it's too hard, I think, for people just to admit that evil exists, that, you know, some people are just evil and do evil things. It's hard to come to grips with.
Well, you know why, though, right? Because the culture is bought into relativism.
Sure. Yeah. You know, I think of, you know, bullying is not good. I would agree with that. Yeah. It's not right to bully someone.
I was bullied. I still get bullied by people online.
But just as a point of cultural difference, you know, in the late 60s, Shel Silverstein wrote a song called A Boy Named Sue. Johnny Cash recorded it, made it really popular. But the whole gist of that song is this, you know, this sort of derelict father, this absentee father, names his boy Sue so that it will give him some grit, so he'll get some flack growing up, and it'll make him a man, basically. And we'll listen to it. It's a funny song. When you will reach the ending, then he realizes, yeah, it did him some good. But today we would look at that and say, oh, that's child abuse, and that's just, and there would be outrage about it, but then it was kind of, there in the story, the man who grew up with the name Sue realizes the intent, that a little suffering made him stronger. But we live in a completely different society today where, everyone gets a trophy that participates.
Right.
We can't give a child a bad grade. That will hurt their self-esteem. As long as they've expressed themselves, it's good to go. And just, we got people, I know it varies regionally, but in some places, there's college students, who can't find the U.S. on a map and that kind of thing. And because it's all been about, our individuality is so, and our self-esteem is so important. And you're right, it's cultural steeped in relativism and your truth and my truth. But we've forgotten that in order to live as a society, that doesn't mean you affirm every whim and every thought and every wish and every hope and every dream and affirm every imagination they come up with. There's some realities that, my freedom is our friend, the American Christian history guy, Ben
Gilmore,
yeah. I think got it from someone else, but my liberty stops at the end of my nose, because then there's somebody else's space, and there's things we have to do in order to live with other people. It's not being all self-centric. And I know I'm just rambling on my soapbox, but I think, it's exactly what we're seeing. Oh, poor little boy, whatever, yes, he's done some horrible things, but that's because, he's not responsible.
Well, and see, that's the bottom line.
He's not responsible.
That's
it's
the bottom
all
line.
These other external circumstances.
That's right.
That every external circumstance needs to bow down to the individual. Everything has to serve us.
Right.
And if we don't perform well, it's because, the cards are against us. And we've been slighted, and our rights have been violated, and yada, yada, yada. Okay, I'll shut up.
No, you don't have to shut up. But it's true. I mean, and this this falls on the heels of what Vicky Fitch was talking about last night. She's getting ready to release her brand new book, Evict the Bully in Your Head, and has this, idea, her pitch. I don't know what to call it, but anyway, her analogy basically is like, the baby is born, the little baby bully is born, and then, we feed it and it grows up and all that. And the truth is, look, hey, we've all been bullied in life, most of us. I don't know one person that hasn't. Somebody is always going to insult you or attack you for something. So, what you do, you grow a thick skin like a rhinoceros, right? And you build a bridge and get over it. That's basically it. Or you work through it when you're hurt. I was hurt yesterday by something, and I worked through it. I told the person that hurt me, you know what, I feel hurt by that. And they apologized, and I'm fine now. Okay, but you don't hold this up. A lot of people, they don't have the skills. They lack the skills. I get that. But there's 17 dead people. And you know what? Sometimes, as Freud said, a cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes somebody premeditates murder to make a point, and he did it. And he should die as a result. I don't give a crap about why he did it. He should die. He's messed up the lives of 17 families plus, and he needs to pay. And, some of you are going to go, well, it's not very merciful. You're a Christian. You're supposed to turn the other cheek. Doesn't the Bible say that you should forgive your, blah, blah. And I'm like, have you read Romans 13? Have you looked at how it says to obey the laws, that people have to be punished by the law? I mean, there are consequences to your sin. And this is why, and this is where I'm going to get on my soapbox. Relativism, feet firmly planted in midair, right? That's this kid's worldview, basically. You know what? I don't give a crap. I feel like killing people. I'm going to go kill people because it's good for me, right? What's good for me, I can do. Who gives a crap if it messes anything else up, right? Okay. And the world actually buys into this tripe, except for when people's lives are lost, unless you're a preborn baby in the womb, right? Now, if you're a preborn baby in the womb and you're being slaughtered under the guise of relativism because it's convenient, or you're an elderly person who, well, your life isn't worth living because you're, wasting away, you've lost your memory, you've got dementia or whatever, and you know what, we got a wicked doctor like Kevorkian who used to go and kill people with euthanasia, which is still a big issue, you guys. And by the way, any one of you who's getting older, you might want to be very careful about where you get older at. Because if you end up in a nursing home and euthanasia is legal and they can trick you into killing yourself, they're going to do it. Because the eugenicists out there want you dead. The people who are planning the mass destruction and depopulation, Bill Gates, all those scoundrels that own, all the money, and they're doing all these great things under the guise of helping people. It's baloney. They're trying to kill off the population. And if you don't think that's true, do your research. I know JM in Sweden knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, the thing is that's the worldview. But see, here's the thing. The truth is that worldview crumbles right there. And you know why it crumbles? Because they can't figure it out. And it crumbles because by virtue of a liberal or somebody who believes that we should ban guns so this, quote, evil won't happen, they're admitting good and evil exists, thereby admitting that good and evil come from somewhere and that there are absolutes. And that's the antithesis of relativism. Relativism says, you know what? Anybody can do whatever the heck they want. Absolute truth says, you know what? There are lines to be drawn. This is true for you. This is true for me. It's the whole thing. Jesus died for you. He died for me. And so it's like they're by default actually admitting absolute truth exists. The problem is, though, they don't want to bow to absolute truth, and they don't want to admit their sin, and they don't want to repent of their sin and call out for the salvation that's free to them through Christ Jesus. That's the problem. And you're right about legalizing marijuana. You know, that's another big issue, too. It's like, and, you know, in fact, there was some dope heads in Vicky's scope last night. And I'm like trying to clarify some stuff for, you know, for them. But it's like, you know what? Look, just because it's legal under our government or somebody else's government doesn't mean it's right. Abortion is legal in this country. Doesn't mean it's right, because it's not. Homosexual marriage is legal in this country. Doesn't mean it's right, because you know what? It's not. You know? It's not. You know? And it's like, if you go ahead and you actually say you want some justice, because that's what I'm asking for. When I say I want this kid dead, that's exactly what I want, is him dead. Why? Because that's justice. You know what? He murdered 17 people and destroyed the lives of a whole community there. Plus, it's impacted our nation. Let's just face it that way. He should be dead. Right now, well, his death won't, you know, solve anything, blah, 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 blah. You know what? It will solve getting one murderer off the planet. It will do that. And hopefully deter any weak-minded knucklehead who wants to be a copycat and do the same thing. You know? I mean, Roman crucifixion, you might recall it. You know? Maybe, yeah. Anyway. I know we could rant and rave about this all day, but this is Free for All Friday. So I should thank our sponsor, Ariel Ministries, because, you know, they do sponsor us, and we're very thankful for that, because it helps me pay some of the bills that we have. So if you guys have not yet visited Ariel.org, you can use the coupon code Bible News and save 20% on anything in the store. Hey, Jefferoni. See, Jefferoni knows. He's an older guy, and he understands the difference between relativism and absolute truth. But anyway, and also Camp Shoshana is happening this summer, starting in July, I think it is. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure you go to Ariel.org and up to you here. And download the pamphlet. There's like a 15 or 20 second delay between when I say something and it shows up on my screen. It's kind of irritating, actually. But anyway, that's all right. And also, I do really want to thank our pillars of the community, you guys that donate to us every month. Look, I get that we're not a nonprofit, so you're not getting a tax break, you know, for donating to us. But as I shared today in my email, look, I put in hundreds of hours of work to do this. And if I averaged out the money I get for all the hours of work, I would be in the red. I mean, really. So the fact that you guys love us enough to donate to us, you know, from your hard-earned money, I really appreciate it a lot, more than you know. And so if you want to become a donor, just go to BibleNewsRadio.com/give and you can donate. The other thing I want you to consider is I want you to pray for us. And the specific prayer request that I have is pray that the Lord would connect Randall and I to the proper people who would see the value in what we're doing and sponsor the show. Because typically these types of shows are, you know, sponsored and listener supported. And we have both going on here. But, you know, I'm bringing in under $1,000 a month for hundreds and hundreds of hours of work a month, doing the work of 7 or 8 people. And I'm not kidding you, you know. I mean, I was telling Melanie earlier today, just the show alone, if I were to actually do it properly as far as prep and all that, it's 2 hours of prep time minimum for the content on the show. Doesn't include the booking and all of the review stuff that I do to get the guests on the show. And it doesn't include the prep time for setting up the show and the guests, which is at least a half hour beforehand. And it doesn't include the time that I work after we shut this show off, which is at least another hour minimum. Downloading the show, ripping the audio, uploading it to the podcast. So because of the 5 people that want the podcast, I do all of that. Nobody else does it. I do it. Randall produces the show live, but he's doing other jobs in order to help support us too. You know, there's a lot that we do, and I love what we do, and I would do it for nothing, honestly, and I pretty much do it for nothing. But we can't actually afford to do it for nothing because we need more money to pay off, you know, our debt and stuff. So, you know, I have seriously been, I put out a couple of proposals to people that I think would be a good fit to sponsor the show. So I'd appreciate your prayers about that. The other thing I'm seriously considering is doing another podcast, in my spare time, except making it a secular podcast, because the secular world tends to support the work that I do better than the Christian world does. And I shared in my email today that my friend Dan Lacey, who for years put out a daily pro-life cartoon called Faith Mouse. And it was literally in hundreds and hundreds of websites and periodicals and newspapers and things like that. But he wasn't getting paid anything for it. And I remember having a conversation with him where he was going, you know what, this sucks. I love doing this. I'm so pro-life. And he would come up with these creative things every single day. And he was so discouraged because nobody would support it. So what he started painting politicians with pancakes on their head and became the painter of pancakes. And he ended up starting to land a lot of stuff. He's such an awesome artist. In fact, if you go to painterofpancakes.com, you'll be able to see some of his work. I mean, he's awesome. He's one of the best artists I personally know. And he was able to go secular and get paid to do the work that he loved. It's a tragedy when you have word of faith teachers, false prophets, and all these other people who are in the name of my God and Savior who are fleecing people and lying through their teeth, and people dump hundreds and thousands of dollars in their pocket when they're being lied to. It's disgusting to me, and me and Randall are working our butts off and all that. Well, maybe it's not God's will. Or maybe it is, and the devil's just trying to stop you. Just saying. Anyway, so those are my prayer requests. And those of you who already give, I'm not talking to you, because I already said I appreciate you, and you already know that. Because we even go even above and beyond there and give you even more in the pillar stuff. So, Randall, do you have anything to say on that?
On what?
Supporting the show or anything that you do or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. Much appreciated. We've, the fact that the handful of you out there, I can speak, really I can, not spontaneously or contemporaneously or that kind of thing. I write real well. I can give a great speech if I write it hours in advance.
Yep.
But yeah, much appreciated the fact that you vote with your wallets, essentially. This is valuable to you. I mean, people vote with their wallets for all sorts of other things, consumables and things that go up in smoke that they enjoy. But to, invest it here is really appreciated and humbling, and we appreciate all that do that. And and your prayers are equally valued, if not more valued, that those doors would be opened, that there would be a way made to that we could do this, be able to devote more time and energy to it without going into further debt. And for something completely different now, I was thinking you were talking about Bill Gates and all that kind of stuff, and the elitists who want to kill us all. And anyway,
they do.
I was thinking all you have to do is read Agenda 21 on the UN site, but I don't think it's there anymore. They do have their Agenda 2030 on there. And do you recall the three tips for surviving any sort of natural disaster or human disaster, riot, stuff like that? The 3 top survival tips.
Location.
Well, it's get out of the city, and get out of the city.
Yeah.
Whether it's nuclear thing or a hurricane or whatever it is, when you're in a city, the damage is greater, and then there's supplies cut off, and sanitation, all that. Your chances are not very good in a city, or they're less. when disaster strikes, just because of the large crowds and
Hey Liz, welcome back.
All the infrastructure required of that. This is really small. Now I can find it here now. They've blown it up. Let me see if I can relocate that. Yeah, here it is. I'm going to pull this on the screen. This is on the United Nations website, sustainabledevelopment.un.org. If you read their whole thing on 2030, and this is just one example, what is one of these things here. By 2020, not far away, substantially increase the number of cities and human settlements adopting and implementing integrated policies and plans towards inclusion, resource efficiency, mitigation, adaptation to climate change, resilience to disasters. Anyway, substantially increase the number of cities and human settlements. That's one of the goals in this very long document to accomplish, and that's by 2020 in this 2030 agenda. I mean, what would be the, what they're talking about eliminating poverty, of course, eliminating the dangers of climate change and whatever. Well, climate change, carbon footprint, aren't like cities. Isn't that the antithesis of that? Industrialization. But so what's the point of, sustainable? How does it sustain development? Instead of people living off the land, it's going to lead to sustainable development by substantially increasing, not just increasing, but substantially increasing the number of cities.
Well, there's so many layers to it, like Amazon.com. That's another layer. Seriously. Do you know that small business has been massively impacted because of Amazon.com's complete monopoly over the whole internet stuff? In fact, I got a very interesting pitch today from a liberal source, and I asked them for an interview because that's what they were pitching the thing. There's this article out there. It's like 15. It seems like it's 15 pages long. It's huge. It's a big, long article basically exposing Amazon.com and Jeff Bezos for basically creating an environment where, like, for example, check this out. Prime, if you're an Amazon Prime member, Prime is not profitable for Amazon. Nope. But psychologically, people who are Prime members, and I happen to be one, by the way, you get that
traitor, heretic.
You get the free shipping in 2 days. That was brilliant marketing. But here's the thing: what happens is, in the article that she sent, they cite a local shoe store that was thriving. It was doing super great and stuff, and local runners would go to it. They'd get their shoes. Then all of a sudden, around 2014, I think it was, they saw this massive drop in local business. Why? Because everybody started to go to Amazon. Why? Because they became Prime members. And when you become a Prime member on Amazon, psychologically, even though Amazon.com is lost tons of money with that, in my mind, hey, I paid $100, let's say, round it up, for the year free shipping. So every time I buy something at Amazon, I'm winning because I already paid for the shipping, basically. And because shipping costs have gone up, actually. And it's so true. So Prime members buy, I think they said something like 60% more than regular people that shop. Most people, when they shop online right now, they don't go to Google. They don't go to eBay. They go to Amazon first. And then they shop at Amazon, who intentionally undercuts everybody's price on purpose by a couple of cents, usually. Yeah. And if you're a Prime member, you get that couple of cents, plus you get the free shipping, which really isn't free, but they've tricked you into thinking it is.
It's brilliant.
It's completely brilliant, but I think that there's a greater nefarious undertone over that, and so does the author of this thing. So hopefully,
going back to the 90s, the net. The movie, here was...
And Alexa, too. Hey, let me tell you one other thing, too. I read in this article about Alexa. Okay, you know how everybody's trying to get on the Alexa bandwagon, which I completely...
No.
I'm like, no, for so many reasons. But I read more about this. And you know what Amazon's doing with Alexa? This is one of the things written in the article. They say that, if you have the Alexa, you say, hey, Alexa, buy me some batteries. So, you know, what they have programmed is
Right.
basically it's not to buy the Duracell or Energizer batteries. It's to buy the Amazon brand battery or whatever it is. It's always linked back to Amazon. It's the default in order to put more money in their coffers. Plus, you got a spy right there and a microphone right there in your house, eavesdropping on everything that you say. Oh, I don't really care. I have nothing to hide.
It doesn't listen until you say, "Hey, Alexa."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 1984. It's way past 1984.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's why we exist. So hopefully soon we'll be able to tell you who we're going to network with on Roku. And then you'll be able to watch the show over on Roku. You'll go, really, who? Who's that person? No.
You can bring up like 4 screens up all at once. Watch YouTube Live and Facebook and Periscope.
The Roku will be delayed by a day.
Yeah. True.
But the good news is it won't cost us anything. But here's the thing. We do have to wrap up because when we start going on Roku, the show's going to be 55 minutes.
Yeah. So we need to get disciplined with that.
Yeah. So we're overtime already.
We are.
For that. So let me just tell you next week.
Maybe we should start putting a countdown clock instead of the show start to the show end, and then.
Yeah. Next week I have 3 guests booked. I have Tiffany Bloom booked. She wrote a book about loneliness, so we're going to talk about that topic. We got Model Ballaston, Messianic rabbi from his ministries. He is going to join us to talk about Purim. Might want to read the book of Esther to start planning for that. And then on Wednesday, I have a book. It's not a book. I have a guest who is... This is a smarty pants guest. This is somebody who is a medical doctor and a judge. Her name is Marilyn Singleton. And she's going to join us to talk about... What is she going to join us to talk about? Let's see here if I have it in my notes. I actually don't know. I forgot. But she'll join us to talk about something. I'm sure it'll be. It's not every day I have a judge and a medical doctor wrapped up in one person on the show. So yeah, we have a lot of highly educated, smarty pants people coming on Bible News Radio. But anyway, so next week, 3 guests next week plus. Seriously?
Seriously.
Put a countdown.
Yeah.
But that's delayed.
Just want to practice it,
right?
Yeah. But basically 1:12 now.
If I do this, am I pointing the right way?
No. It's on your right.
Oh, it's over there?
Yes.
Okay, there's like a 15-20 second delay.
So 1 minute now.
Oh, it's a 25-second delay. No,
Anyway.
It's not. I'm trying to see how long it's going to take before I actually see it there. My hair's kind of funky today. Gotta fluff it up some. No. Oh, wait. Hold on. It's not even getting there yet. There we go.
40 seconds.
Okay, anyway, whatever. So next week we have some guests. If you want to know who they are, join our email list. And those guys, thank you for coming in and for praying for us. Really, I'm seriously pray for us because we need it. As I always say, be bold, stand up and go with God because he really does love you. And here's the thing, he really does love us. And you know what? If it's too bad Nikolas Cruz doesn't understand that. And I hope that he does before, hopefully, he gets the death penalty because he should die for the crimes he committed. So, we're out of here. Have a good weekend.